Committee of the whole. First item would be adoption of the agenda. Second. On adoption, all those in favor? And opposed? Delegation this afternoon, Sean Vincent regarding an upcoming concert at Marina Park. And I believe he's brought Dan Schroeder here from Child Development. All right. So welcome, and you have 10 minutes for your presentation.
10 minutes?
Wow. We can dance and sing. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us tonight. I think maybe what we start with is we've got about a 3-minute video of the lineup for Comox Valley Rocks for Kids in the Marina Park. So if we can play that.
Good for Tom Betty.
Sorry, Russ. Well, while that's coming back up, maybe we'll just give you guys a little background if we could. Last summer, I was at a charity event with some people from the town of Comox, and a friend of mine, Brian House, who I grew up with here, he's quite an accomplished music producer. He's won a couple of Junos, won a Grammy. We were all there together and talking about the town of Comox. And one of the councillors made a comment about, we should liven Comox up a little bit with a rock concert in the Comox Marina Park. Pam Crow and Dan Daigle were at the function, and they said, yeah, you should do that, and you guys should donate the proceeds to the Child Development Society. So the idea was spawned in a very impromptu way, but Brian and I kept talking about it, and we decided we would take a run at doing it. We've had the good fortune of engaging John Mang locally. John, I guess, looks after the nautical days and some of the other festival stuff. He's an integral part of the team, so all of the operations and infrastructure down here, security, fencing, all the power, John's been, just a godsend. Brian's first manager when he was a rocker, way back in the 80s, is a fellow that actually does promotions. He travels all over just anytime I'll be quiet. He travels he's based out of Vancouver, and he does festivals in BC, does Sunfest. They're doing stuff down as far south as Utah, and they do these high-end tribute bands. So the theme of this concert is basically 80s tribute bands, as well as a reunion of Young Guns, which is Brian's first band when he lived here, and they traveled all over Western Canada before he became a producer and songwriter. We were going to have the event on the 29th of July, and it was going to be part of the Vanier 35-year grad reunion. John Watson from Seabeds approached us and said, hey, would you guys like to throw this into the Shellfish Festival as a part of as a satellite event, because of the demographics that they see at the Seafood Festival, and fitting in with the theme of music we were talking about. So that's we've got 40 Knots as a sponsor partner. We've got Tria Catering. We've got some other food trucks. There's going to be a salmon bake that day. We're proposing a beer garden and a wine bar that will have enclosed in full security, so the whole site will not be legal for alcohol. It's just going to be a couple of designated areas. There is a VIP area, so special tickets for food, seating, tenting, with also an opportunity to meet the replacement player band after they're finished playing. And we've approached Joanne and the fine people down at the Child Development Association, and they seem to be quite willing to work with us and receive whatever funds we may have at the end. So maybe I'll let you just say a couple of things.
Thank you, because obviously from the point of view of the Child Development Association, this is a great opportunity for us. I don't think there's many folks here that don't know about the work that we do at the Child Development Association, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Specifically, we're very excited because we have just embarked on a building project with actually have been undergoing demolition at our site for about the last week, and about to begin building a new autism center of excellence, which will be linked into a whole broad provincial network of autism centers. And so any funds raised by the Comox Valley Rocks for Kids will be able to help us realize the completion of that project. So as all of you well know, I'm sure once you start building something, what you thought it was going to cost seems to go up exponentially every day. But it's a real dire need for this community. There's over 200 kids just in the Comox Valley diagnosed with autism, and we're bursting at the seams in terms of trying to meet the demand for those services. So we're just very excited to be able to partner with Sean and John and Brian and all these folks in terms of putting together this event, which sounds like it's going to be a ton of fun as well. So that's bonus. So we will have some information about the Child Development Association on site, so that people, it's also a great opportunity for us to get a bit more of the word out about our services. We're going to talk, I think, a little bit about some family-friendly activities, so we know that families feel welcome and able. I know that the ticket prices are going to be reasonable for folks, so it's not going to be something that all of our families won't be able to access. So we're really pleased about that as well.
All right. Do you want to see if that'll work again? Okay.
Pardon me? Nope.
You're all good.
Should display.
Those were the days, were they not?
Brian still has the hair. So it just...
Where'd you had that?
Yeah, I know. So just a little bit of background on Young Guns. There's people coming from Calgary to see them. This is about a 25-year reunion for them. They used to play in the valley at all the big parties down on Scott Road. A lot of people coming from Vancouver, Victoria, that have heard that Young Guns are having a reunion. Brian is a good pal of mine. He's really excited. This is his home. Like, he comes back every summer, and he talked to me today about him and his wife wanting to get out of LA. He's got to make his living down there right now, but this is where he wants to be. Just to go back to the sponsorships, we've got a lot of really good partners. The BIA and Comox is behind this. They've generously donated $1,500 to get some of the seed money going for the concert. Seabeds has been instrumental. They're doing all our ticketing for us through the Seafood Festival. I mentioned 40 Knots, Tria. There's a bunch of other businesses locally that are actually coming in. The GOAT is, I've never seen a corporate group so excited about an event that I've gone and talked to. It's right up their alley for music. And, one of the things I said to Joanne was that, in the Comox Valley, we have a lot of really talented people. And a lot of the music is a different genre. There's a lot of folksy music. And it's amazing the response, you guys, that we've got in the Comox Valley and from other places. The excitement of people my age coming to listen to this type of music. We're very respectful of the community. The stage is going to be positioned in a manner so that the sound all goes out towards the water. They're going to roll in about $150,000 rolling stage. It's a plug and play. It's got a canopy. It's got lights. We really did our best to do as much as we could locally, but we had to look at time frames with Al, down at the park and how much time we were going to tie up down there. So it's basically launched. The ticket sales launched, I think, yesterday or the day before. And according to the production fellow that you saw sign at the end, the tickets are going really well. There's a VIP section, which is $99. And something that's really nice about the VIP section, this came from myself and Brenda talking from 40 Knots. We're going to do, because it's June, cools off in the night, we're doing a blanket program where we're going to we're having logoed blankets for the event, for the VIP section. People are going to rent them, and at the end of the night, we're going to donate those to Dawn to Dawn for, at a time of the year when people are going to need that. And we think that's the kind of stuff, along with, the Child Development Society, that's going to make this a success. The long-term plan for this, and there is a plan, is to do a couple of years with the tribute bands. And then Brian has already been talking to Mike Reno from Loverboy that would possibly come in the future. Once we can demonstrate that we're doing a really professional, and I'm going to call it high-end event, but only high-end because of the partners that we've got involved, and everything's going to be done in a very professional manner so that when Brian goes out to some of his people that he deals with in the industry, they're comfortable coming here. He's comfortable having them come here. That we can do our tribute bands through the day. And if everybody's, the town of Comox is happy with the job that's being done, then he'll probably end up being some bigger name acts. We don't want this to get like Sunfest. Our vision is just to have this in the Comox Marina Park, cap it off at about 2,500 tickets, and make all the numbers work at whatever the ticketing prices need to be at those numbers. So general VIP, $99, dinner, wine, a special section with canteen, the blankets. General admission, early bird, are $20, and then the $25 for a day of entertainment. Youth are 15, and under 12, I think, are free. So that. And we're actually a couple things we're dealing with John Mang, and actually Paul mentioned this. We're going to reach out to Chris Kelsey and see if we can maybe use the St. Joseph's parking for a park and ride or a park and walk. Just to look after that logistic part of it. So we're thinking that could really work out well for the day.
Any questions from members of council? Councilor McKinnon.
Yes, a couple of questions. We spoke earlier, Sean, and you mentioned maybe some of the other councillors might not know this, that Brian was selected as a sidewalk wall of fame in Courtney.
Yes.
It's kind of cool. It's a great cause for this people. One question, though, is that have you had any consultation with our parks people here in regards to the marina? Any advanced conversations about handling it, and what needs to be done from our end with Al and company?
Yeah, John Mang and myself have met with Al. The conversations are ongoing with the site setup. We will be providing Al very shortly a layout of the park and where we're proposing that everything go with respect to, we wanted the stage at the front to be left of the gazebo. And again, for two things. One, the concert goers should be looking at the stage and not at the sun. Performers are used to looking in the bright lights. And then where they call it a green room, learning all kinds of things about the music industry, where the performers will hang out, and then where the wine bar and the beer garden will go. So that's just about finished.
You've been in conversation.
Yeah.
And then my last question is, I'm from the 60s and 70s. Who is OCDC? Hugh, we can talk about that later. Thank you.
Councillor Arnott.
Yeah, just to the CIO, and maybe Al has an answer, but Richard, you and I talked a while ago about upgrading that electrical there. Is that something that's still being worked on? Because I'm sure something like this will take a lot of power.
It's in the work plan that we
Yeah.
have this year.
Okay.
Councillor Grant.
Just a comment. What an exciting event. This is excellent. It just sets our community even higher on that scale. So thank you, Sean, for all of your creativeness. It's
Yeah,
excellent.
no problem. It's exciting.
Yes, it truly is.
Going into the GOAT the other day, the comment last Friday was, tell us how many tickets you have and we will sell them all.
Yes.
And they've got this thing on their Facebook page already, and like I say, I walked in there and they just said, hey, tell us whatever you need, we'll do it. And so there's a lot of good community support behind us already. So, and we're glad that it's in Comox, because on a day like today, if you guys can envision music playing right now, when of course we're all hoping for good weather, it's going to be.
What time will it start?
It's going to actually be, the video said 3 o'clock, but we're actually going to have a couple local musicians playing, and I know her as Annie, her husband, Ken, I think knows Annie.
Hanley, yeah.
Hanley. And her partner are going to play kind of mood music, so that, people that are going down to the marina to the boats, there'll be a little bit of music playing before the actual event starts, just to kind of start the mood going at about 2 o'clock. And the food will be going all day, and we're going to engage, John Mang has engaged the local food trucks that are down all year round. They're going to have a good opportunity that day. They're outside the gates of the event, but we're going to encourage people inside, to go frequent those businesses. And on our tickets, all of our ticketing and marketing promotion will have Comox by the Sea, as well as promotion to shop locally in Comox.
Oh, excellent.
With that was happened through Sue Wood at the BIA. So,
Councillor Grant.
So we know when we start and when are we ending?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock?
Yeah.
Because we do have some condos.
Yes.
We are in Comox after all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're, I think that the main part of the concert will probably start to shut down at about 10.
Yeah.
They are talking about doing a We Are the World, all the bands getting up and singing about 3 songs together. One other thing that the Goats come up with, I think, is just absolutely stupendous. They are going to have, and it's starting, I think, next week, a contest for young musicians around Comox Valley. And they are going to send in YouTube submissions of them playing a rock and roll instrument, drums, guitar, and then the 3 winners will be on stage that night. And then the winner of the contest is going to go visit Brian at his studio in Vancouver for a record.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I know you've requested some waiver fees, and staff will bring us a report back on what those could be. We won't decide that tonight, but that'll come up next committee. Thank you for your presentation. Unless there's other
Thanks for your
questions,
time.
you're free to go.
We'll see you all.
thank you very much.
All right, so we'll carry on with the rest of the meeting. No minutes of meetings or departmental reports. We do have staff reports. The first one is regarding Beckton Drive parking, and so there's a recommendation there.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded on the recommendation that staff be directed to allow in accordance with the report. So, Councillor Arnott.
Yeah, I would like to add onto this before we vote on it, that we add 3 more parking spots to the west of Deerwood on the north side. Just 3 there. It gives the, as the report indicated, should be no problem on the north side parking. With just 3 spots there, it still allows cars to pull in and give the
Okay, just hang on a second.
the view lines
So
there.
you're moving an amendment, so we should consider that as amendment to the main motion.
Can that be amended, because I'd be happy with that.
I think we should do it as amendment.
Okay.
Not everyone's enthused with that, but and then we can talk about it. So let's move in second on the amendment. So speak to the amendment then.
Yeah, so just reading through the report, and I'm glad, thankful that staff has, got this. And, things have changed a lot in 25 years since that development was built. And when we originally just arbitrarily came out and said, no, we're sticking with the rules. And we see here that there is room for parking there. And I appreciate that. I know the neighbors do. And what I'm asking is that we allow an additional 3 spots on the north side, west of Deerwood,
Okay. So
past the crosswalk, we've been.
all right. Well, let's have a look. See here. Staff, are you clear on where the staff is?
Sorry, Mark, I did discuss that option with...
Hang on.
Sorry.
Just want to get the area of question first. So I guess if we're looking at maps, the best one to look at is on page 5.
Yeah.
So sorry, you're saying that
So west of that intersection, Beckton and Deerwood, and on the north side, just putting 3 additional
okay,
spots in
so
there.
that's what
Right on there.
but that's not what's in the report.
No, so that's what I'd like to add there.
All right. So on that amendment, Public Works Director would like to speak to that.
Yeah, I did review the document from Watt Consulting, and we looked at that section, and the only reason why we didn't put that in everything west, or everything yet to the east of Deerwood, because there was no proper pull-out there besides the sidewalk, so it was a safety concern with pedestrians potentially being at a sidewalk, and if you need to pull out if another car was coming, so that didn't seem to be ideal to him.
Is that because of the crosswalk there?
Yeah.
So how does that work with allowing 6 spots on the other side, on the east side? Then there's still going to be cars parked there.
But they could, so if you're coming up Beckton around the corner, there could be that's where the pull-out would be, sort of by their...
Which direction are you going on Beckton?
So we're going northbound on Beckton Drive to the 90-degree bend.
Right.
The pull-out will be at that 90-degree bend area. And if you're coming down westbound, the sight line improves so you can stop before you get to the crosswalk.
All right. Are there any other comments on the amendment? Councillor Price.
And also, reading the report, it spoke about distances from the crosswalk, requirements. So this proposal, would that come within those areas, within the crosswalk protection area, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, they're saying 15 to 30 meters, right? According to the report. So, question for staff on that?
So I'm not sure if I understood the question. So the proposed 6 parking spots is with the 30 meter. He recommended highly that we went with the preferred as well,
Yes.
as opposed to the minimum. So it is allocating the 30 meters in advance and the 10 meters after.
But for the amendment,
How would that impact?
How would that impact?
For the
crosswalk
amendment,
safety?
you'd have to come off 10 meters.
To the
the
west
west,
of
yeah.
the crosswalk.
To the west of Deerwood, and then 30 meters on the south side. So in advance, if you're heading eastbound, you do 30 meters.
So you could do it and get the required setbacks from the crosswalk?
You
The
could, but
amendment.
he didn't recommend having the crosswalk setbacks at the pull-out area, and that was part of the new conclusion where he said ensure that you have proper safe pull-out so that cars can pull over.
Okay.
And if we look at the parking that's proposed to the amendment, the pedestrian area of those sight lines would be considered as the pull-out. So therefore, it was a safety concern for pedestrian and
where it naturally fits in with the flow of pedestrians.
Typically, we have the crosswalks at intersections is the ideal spots.
And just,
Hang on, does anyone else on this side?
I have a general comment, not to do with the amendment.
Okay, so on the amendment, Councilor.
yeah, I just wanted to clarify, I'm not looking for parking in front of those 3 houses, but just enough for 3 cars. I'm happy with 2. But just so when people are looking at the map, I'm not looking at parking in front of those 3 houses there to the west of the parking of the crosswalk. I'm looking for 3 parking spots. So half of what that red line would be is what we did. Have I confused everybody now?
No, I think we know what you're talking about, but it's certainly not referenced in the report. But staff, do you have any other comments on that? Seeing none on the amendment?
Just on the amendment, I'm counting houses. As I understand it, the 6 proposed parking spots will accommodate, there's what, 7 houses along there? So it accommodates 1 for each house, which is a tremendous improvement.
Yeah. Councilor Price?
Yeah, and I guess my concern is, first of all, as much parking, on-street parking as possible. We're neighbourhoods, obviously, would like that. But I also would like it to be safe, and so I have a little bit of a nagging feeling if it's not recommended, we did go to an engineer to give us his engineered view on this, and I think I'm hearing from our engineer some concerns too. So that would be my only thing with the safety side of it.
Okay. Anything else on the amendment, Councilor Sawyer?
Well, could we amend the amendment to 1 parking space?
Yeah.
And that would increase the vision for the crosswalk.
I'd be happy with that.
Well, then you'd have to move that as an amendment to the amendment.
Instead of 3-2, or are you thinking of 1 instead of 3?
I'm not committed on that.
Well, what we should perhaps do, instead of doing an amendment to amendment and getting into that, is perhaps, so we can go to 3 to 2 to 1 to 4 or whatever. Perhaps we should have the vote on 3, and then if that's not accepted, then somebody can propose something else. Are you ready for the question of the amendment?
Well, I just want to say, I don't have any problem adding 3 here. I think we can engineer ourselves to death sometimes. I mean, this is actually a pretty simple thing, and I think we're getting a little bit carried away. This is about allowing people to have some parking in front of their houses. They've asked for it. I think it makes sense. So I'm good with
3 additional.
Yeah.
All right, well, just a reminder that this all came about because initially there was no parking, and there were people parking, notwithstanding that the signs got removed. Then there were complaints about people parking there, and there were safety concerns, and then we went back to where we are today. So, based on the the engineer's report, I won't support the amendment, but we'll see where it goes. So, on the amendment, all those in favor? Those opposed? And that amendment is defeated. Any further amendments?
I'd like to make the amendment for 2 parking spaces, 2 additional parking spaces.
All right.
I'll second that.
Try again.
One more chance. Yeah, we're going to get an extra one in there somehow.
Well, it gives it 1 per house.
Which also allows a pull-up curfew.
Staff, any input on that?
One location I could recommend that we sort of discussed, it wasn't in his report, but we verbally discussed it, was heading eastbound on Beckton Drive just before you hit Deerwood. We would have a 30-meter minimum setback to the sidewalk and have 1 parking spot there before you hit that first driveway. He was in support of that one because as people are heading eastbound coming down Beckton Drive, you have that 5 to 6% grade. They could be picking up speed. So if you have 1 car that's parked there, it'll slow them down,
Talking
kind
about
of get around.
on the other side of the street.
Yeah, it would be on the south side of the street.
And that's one.
That's just the one other additional one he recommended. The other ones we looked at on top, sort of closer to Knoll, because we're getting by a busier intersection. We've got the mailboxes. That was the only other one that he would think that he would.
Sorry, one on each side?
Just the one side.
Just the one side,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. All right, you've heard that on the amendment.
Okay, so we're talking about one parking spot on the other side of the street, up near the top of the, closer, why, if we can have one, why couldn't we have two?
There's driveways.
Is there
This is
driveways?
on the south side, there's, a number of driveways so that you wouldn't get in. So it's just to the left of Deerwood.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, I see.
Yeah.
All right, anything further on that? So that amendment, you ready for the question? All those in favor of the amendment? Those opposed? That is defeated.
I would
One
move
last
that
time?
we have one.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. The main motion is amended. All those in
Okay,
favor?
well, I'd like to propose that we drop it from 5 to 6, since we're...
You're up. So all those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, staff and council. Thank you. All right, so that'll come to council next week for formal approval, but can't imagine anything else going forward. So hopefully, before too long, that can be signed. It's just a matter of signing. All right, so anything further? Nothing further than that. Then we have.
Before we move on, you had suggested yellow lines. Do we not do yellow lines
We don't.
at all?
We don't.
I mean, I personally prefer yellow lines to signs. Sometimes it looks like we're...
They're not enforceable, for one thing, the yellow lines, and they tend to deteriorate faster, so you have to sign it. And we won't do the Rock Road signage treatment.
Somewhere in between. We've got some extras.
Yeah. All right, plant a few cherry trees while you're there. So that's why. So, council procedure bylaws being brought forward for recommended 3 readings to come to council next week, but this is a recommendation. Consider that. So, is there a mover? Move. Seconder, and I'll just ask staff briefly to speak to this. CA.
Shelley, speak to this.
Okay.
Okay. So these amendments are just more procedural amendments. They're more to do with housekeeping. Thank you. More housekeeping rather than substantial changes to council's procedure or how council conducts its business. So housekeeping amendments such as where agendas are posted, other things such as what are some of the other things? Sorry, calling the meeting to order, just clarifying the process. More minor housekeeping amendments, and the idea is that if council wishes to make more substantial amendments to the procedure, its procedures in conducting business as a whole, that would be forward in the fall, perhaps after an election.
Sure, and some of this was related to the election being moved up to October. So the inaugural meeting will be November versus December.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, just on that, on page 18, I just saw, so that would be the first Monday in November would be the inaugural meeting?
Correct.
So we have December in there.
It's going to change.
So we are changing that. Okay. I just thought this was what it was going to be.
The amendments will be made to the bylaws, and once they're
Right.
made, then that'll be consolidated with this.
Right, okay, then I had a few other things with the same sort of thing then, as you got.
Yeah, I can speak. So the existing consolidated bylaw is included, which is what you're looking at on page 18.
It is?
It is included in the report.
Oh.
And then the proposed changes are the following. I'm just looking at-
Yeah, they're referencing the consolidated bylaws, so once the changes are
Yeah,
approved.
okay, I'm happy with that, I understand.
Councilor Smith?
I think mine are just the same housekeeping issues, but moving it from December to November. And,
Yeah.
yeah, so they were all housekeeping, which sounds like comment.
Yeah. Anything on this side? Go ahead.
Just a quick comment, please. It took me quite a while as a new councillor, first of all, to find the washroom downstairs. And secondly, if this had been presented to me as I walked through the door, it would have probably saved an awful lot of questions. So perhaps it's a consideration for the new council.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely, that should have been presented to you, but perhaps for you. Any events, yeah, it's definitely a good reminder as an orientation man. We figured since you were so experienced that you got
Yes.
anything else? All those in favor then of the motion? Opposed? Motion's carried. And that'll come to council for the first 3 readings next week. Last item is the correspondence, and I just asked the CEO now to just tell us where we're at with the budget. Just give us an update quickly.
So the Director of Finance is completed with the auditors last week, and I think he's just wrapped up the financial statements that they require to complete their work. And the auditors will be coming to council on May 9th, the committee of the whole, for a presentation. So at this stage, now what he's working on are the financial plan bylaws that we will be bringing forward to council next week. And those we will be presenting for hopefully 3 readings, and then adoption at a special meeting of council that we would hold on the 9th of May as well.
Just before the committee.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on that? Okay, so on this request, of course, I asked that this be brought forward because we hadn't really discussed it since the last time we discussed it. We kind of left it, and so it's up for council to consider whether or not they should support contribution towards so bylaw 6767. It's a matter of information. If you didn't hear, the pertinent council was voted to provide a $10,000 grant plus some in-kind contributions, $1,500 basically for facility rental. And their $10,000 contribution is coming from the casino or gaming fund that they have identified in part for some of these kinds of bids. So that's happened. I'm not aware of any other contributions from other municipalities at this point. Just a reminder that we have no grant aid policy. We do support cultural programs within the community, and also we do support annually $3,500, I think, for that art gallery in the where this event will be held. What else? This is not, to my understanding, based on what Mayor Jengler told me, a sanctioned or sponsored event by the Comox First Nation. It's more of an independent event, and that's all I know. Yes.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, as I mentioned at one of the other meetings we had, that the Community Justice Center has donated a substantial amount, $22,000 towards this. What they were able to do was they were able to direct restorative justice funds that were going to go to the school division that weren't going to be able to be used in a timely manner. So they were able to transfer, they had 40,000, they were able to transfer 20,000, I believe, of that. Plus there was $2,000 that the CJC was going to donate, so that upped it to $22,000. So we are contributing as a community in certain ways. You know, it's all a tax dollar. And so...
Yeah, just a reminder that we do support community justice through the region.
Yes.
All right, so with all that information, it's for your consideration.
I don't think we ever received this item.
Oh, we did before. So.
Oh, did we? All right.
I don't have. I mean, it's just been brought back. So.
I'd like to give something as truth and reconciliation, and until I would move that we give $2,000.
Okay, is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion.
I'll speak to that if I can.
Go ahead.
I think I agree with the grants and aids policy, generally speaking, for sure. This is a unique opportunity in regards to reconciliation, and I think it would demonstrate that the town of Comox really thinks it's important. As a one-shot reconciliation grant, the amount, I think we can debate that for sure. I'm not stuck on the amount there, but I think it's significant as a gesture from our community. I'd like to see the the motion then would be considered.
Oh, it's going to be considered, just, yeah, if anyone has any comments, yeah.
Perhaps a message that we can get to the band is that when they are looking for money, that they come to us earlier, because now this is the second time that we've had to have one of these last-minute type of debates on giving money, because the first one was a year or so ago, I believe, when the canoe...
Tribal Journeys
that was coming on. And we were struggling then because we don't give. And we're at it again, and I think we all want to give. It's just, we can't give everything.
And I don't know, I know the band has some role to play in that event, but I don't think specifically the band.
Yeah.
I guess I would counter that and come back and say, the town of Comox giving one gesture of reconciliation, this event and this kind of signs off that we believe reconciliation is important, and that the town has recognized that, and that it doesn't open the door for further requests for funding in that regard. I'd like council to consider that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think, with all due respect to what you're saying, I think reconciliation goes a lot further than that, but, there would be more substantive ways. We're still working towards completion of the Northeast Woods Ground Grant process. The lease staff are working with First Nations on that. We may have other opportunities with the band itself to participate. I know that some of you attended the blanket exercise that was held, and I've done it myself in the past. So, I wouldn't want to just say, okay, $2,000 and we're done. I'm sure that's not what you're saying. But I think we have to be careful that, there is a reason for grants being granted. Essentially we're using property tax money to support non-traditional causes. And in the past, those have occurred, but on a very sort of considered basis. So whether this is one of those, I guess we'll find out. Yep. Yes.
Well, I won't be supporting it simply because we have a grants and aids policy, and there are so many good causes out there. I just think we need to stick to our policy.
Yeah. Sorry, Barbara.
I'm happy. Having said that, I am happy to participate in their event in volunteering or supporting in kind donations. But in terms of donating our tax money to this, I can't support that.
Anything further on the motion?
Just if I may speak to Councillor Swift's comment, as far as volunteering is concerned, it appears on here, on your budget, etc., no comment whatsoever about volunteering or anything else that we might do. So that too also raised a question. So I'm afraid I can't support that.
All right. So yeah, just when we did consider the travel journeys, I don't think we gave them any money. Unfortunately, we weren't able to provide our washrooms at that point because they were under construction. So there's always those kinds of opportunities. This is a slightly, obviously, different event, but and no doubt a worthy event. Anyway, another opportunity for people to contribute in a meaningful way to reconciliation is the Couscous Song project, which is, of course, underway. And to this point, the town isn't contributing in that regard, but maybe opportunities for people to get involved. All right.
So could you just refresh the letter asks for 8,000, Barbara mentioned 2,000.
Yes.
So what are we doing?
The motion is for 2.
Okay.
So if there's no further discussion or questions, comments on the motion, we'll call for the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is defeated.
And just since we've been, debating and numbers, I would then move 1,000. That's seconded.
I'll second that.
All right.
And it's a token. It's we're communities. I think the regional district has given some money. Courtney has, and Cumberland will come forward. And we're very closely we're neighbours to the local band. So I think this is a different scenario from the normal grants and aid, and I know that we could find that in the budget without having to
Yeah, I don't think there's any
think
question
too
on that.
deeply. So
All right, that motion's on the floor. Any further discussion on that one?
I knew that one parking spot was going to cost.
All right, it's almost like a Dutch auction.
Yeah.
And, yes?
Just a question or a thought that crosses my mind as I listen to Barbara. What's that saying? 1,000, when they ask for aid and we give 1,000, because I was thinking that we should give something. That was my original thought, that we should. But what's that saying by giving just 1,000? Somehow we have to be careful of the messaging coming out with that as well. I don't know, am I being too sensitive on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, no matter what you do, there's going to be issues, but, there are issues with making these kinds of contributions. $1,000 is not necessarily nominal, but it's getting towards that. It is at least in our mind, it could be a contribution. But as I said a few moments ago, this is not the be-all and end-all towards reconciliation. So it'd be essentially like, I guess the CEO would call it like a corporate sponsorship. For that, we'd probably get our name on the program kind of thing, like we do for other things. So, we participate in this to that tune, so that's what that would be. Rather than getting hung up on the amount, that's sort of the nature of it. Yeah, it's a gesture, it's a sponsorship of a corporate form. So, how they would consider it, I'm sure they would accept it in all contributions without reading too much into it. All right, so anything further on that? All those in favor of that motion? Any opposed? 2 opposed. Motion's carried. All right, so that will again come to council next week for formal adoption, and to my knowledge, that is our agenda. So a motion to adjourn would be in order.